सर्वेभ्यो नमस्कारः। सम्यक् श्रूयते वा? कृपया सूचयन्तु। सम्यक् श्रूयते वा? अस्तु, प्रारम्भं कुर्मः। वन्दे तं मदवारणेन्द्रवदनं मद्भागधेयाकृतिं शुण्डादण्डसुचालनेन जगतां मायान्तरायामयान् विद्राव्यप्रणतिप्रसन्नहृदयो योऽनुक्त एव स्वयं रक्षत्यन्वहमात्मनोति बिरुदं वैद्येशपुत्राभिधम्। नमस्कारः. So, the last class we were going through the story of this Vanik Putra called Vardhamana. So he had started from his city, Mahilaropya. He thought of the various way. So he was thinking about the different. First, he thought about why it is important to earn money, make money, multiply the money that is already there. Then he also thought about various means, and finally, decided to trade. Okay, so he decided that Vanijya was the best option to make money, and then he started with trading bhandas. Okay, so Mathuragamini bhandanyadaya saha prasthitavan asmabhihi drishtaha. So he started to Mathura. Okay, so with all the items that he wanted to be traded, he started with a big retinue. Okay, so there was a huge businessmen, the group of businessmen that were following Vardhamana. Vardhamana was a leader for the group. He was Sarthavaha. Saw that. So what happened to his bull on the way? So when the bull approached Yamuna Tata, somehow sprained his legs and he sat down. He couldn't move any further and broke the yoke. Yugabhangam vidhaya nishasada. Sanjivakaha Yugabhangam vidhaya nishasada. We had seen till there. So what happened later? We'll just do a quick punaravriti and then go to the present day's portion. Atha asau tadavadharya sanjivakasya rakshapurushan nirupya ashesha sartham nitva prasthitaha. So he waited for 3 days. So we had seen that Trayana Bhangam Saha Kritavan. So he stopped his travel and he waited for Sanjivaka to recover, because he was a homegrown bull. Okay, he was a Mangala. Okay, so Mangala Vrishabhu Sanjivaka Nandaka Namanu Ityapi Drishtam. So they were auspicious bulls and they were homegrown. So he had a great love and attachment towards that bull. So he didn't want to leave him as she was very compassionate. So he tried to stop his travel for 3 days and see if he was recovering. But then his the other members complained that just for the sake of a bull, you are putting the entire group in jeopardy in such a dangerous forest. So he thought, okay, that also made sense to him. Yeah, I was just thinking of me, but then there is a huge number of people that is dependent on me. So what I will do, tadavadharya. So there were other businessmen, right? So sarthasya vakyani avadharya, vakyani shrutva, and having understood that nicely, avadharya, he thought about it and he decided sanjivakasya raksha purushan nirupya. So he placed some raksha purushas for Sanjivaka. He made a few men stay with Sanjivaka and he left with the rest of the retinue. Asesha sartham nitva prasthitaha. So he took the group and left. Atha raksha purushaha. Anantaram raksha purushaha kimakuruvan. What did they do? Bahvapayam tadvanam viditva. Knowing that forest to be full of dangers. Bahvapayam tadvanam iti viditva iti samyak jnatva kim kritavantah sanjivakam parityajya, leaving Sanjivaka as such, prishtataha gatva. So just following the group, okay, following the group that just left, they just followed the footsteps of the group. And what did they do? Anyedyu, the next day, tam sarthavaham mithya So they lied to the Sarthavaha, saying, Swamin Mritaha asau sanjivakaha, saha sanjivakaha. That bull of yours, the Sanjivaka, is dead. Asmabhistu Sarthavahasya abhishtaha. Asmabhistu Sarthavahasya abhishtaha iti matva vanhina samskritaha. So, because we, give me a moment. Sorry. Kshamyatam. Fine. Okay. Just wanted to check the chat in between. Okay. Okay. Asmabhistu sarthavahasya abhishtaha iti matva vanhina samskritaha. So understanding that he was your favorite, abhishtaha, he was your favorite, understanding that iti matva, iti chintayitva, having given a thought about that, we were very thoughtful. So we did not just leave him as such, vanhina samskritaha. So we did proper vanni samskara for him and cremated him. We have seen this in the last class. Tachrutva sarthavaha vardhamanaha kritanyataya. So he was very grateful to them. So with gratitude, what did he do? Snehardra hridayaha tasya aurdhvadehika kriyaha vrushotsargadikaha sarvaschakara. See, he was so compassionate that even after they had cremated him properly with vanhi, he heard that, but still on his part, he felt he had some responsibility towards that bull, just as a family member. So when a family member passes away, whatever urdhva dehika kriyas are required. Urdhva dehika kriya means urdhva deha. So that which is related to urdhva deha means the that which helps in the journey of the departed soul. Such kriyas, such samskaras, like vrishotsargadikaha, like vrisha utsarga. Vrishabha is a bull. Utsarga means to leave, to untie. So untying a bull is a popular, is a samskara that is usually done when a person passes away. So it is done by the family members, usually on the 12th day or so. So he did that for the sake of a bull. So he untied a bull and he freed a bull. Vrishotsargadikaha. The author says, maybe he did other samskaras also, we do not know. Just one example is given, Vrishotsarga. He did this Sarvaha Chakara. So he did all the Urdhva-dehika kriyas that were required for the proper, so how do we say, for the, in order that the further journey of Sanjivaka may be facilitated. So he did all that. Sanjivakaha. So this was happening at the end of Vardhamana. But what happened to Sanjivaka really? Sanjivakaha api. Sanjivako pyayusheshataya. There is a sandhi here. Sanjivakaha api ayusheshataya. So he had some years left, okay, in his balance. Okay, so each of us come to this world with a predestined ayu. Nobody can change that. So once that is over, we all leave. So the Sanjivaka had some left. Okay. So ayu sheshataya. Shesha means a portion. Right? Shesha. So a part. So he had a portion of his ayu left. Because of that, ayu sheshataya. Yamuna salila mishraihi shishiratara vataihi apyayita shariraha. So what happened to him? Saha apyayita shariraha abhavat. Apyayita means vardhita, samyak poshita. So he became his sharira, which was actually hurt. Okay. And he sat down in a place, he could not go around grazing, he could not find food to eat. But still, what happened to him? His sharira gained pushti. Okay, it was apyayita, means it was well nurtured. Okay, by what? Yamuna salila mishraihi shishiratara vataihi apyayita shariraha. Yamunayaha salilam, Yamunayaha jalam. Yamuna Jala Mishraihi Shishiratara Vataihi. So he sat down on the banks of Yamuna, right? So the cool breeze that blew there, the cool breeze, Shishiratara Vata, is a very cool breeze. And why was it very cool? Because the air had the waters of Yamuna mixed up. Okay, so it was quite cool because of Yamuna Salila Mishravate. So the wind there was not dry, it was cool because it had Yamuna waters in it. Yamuna Salila Mishrehi Shishiratara Vataihi. Just with the help of Vata, his Sharira was nurtured. He did not eat anything. Okay, he did not eat anything, he could not move, but still he became better. Why? That is why the author says, Ayusheshataya. Tatra kim karanamiti vaktum na shakyate. Tasmadeva daivam ityuchyate. So we cannot say what is the reason here. So it is because of, daiva. It is destiny. What else can we say? Why else would a bull abandoned in a forest suddenly become fine? Okay. There's no reason for that except that it had some more years left in its lifetime. So what did he do? Sanjivakaha ayusheshataya Yamuna Salila Mishrehi Shishiratara Vataihi Apyayita Shariraha Sanjivakaha Kathanchidapyuthaya. Somehow he was able to get up. Okay. Kathanchidapyuthaya Yamuna Tatam Upapere. So he reached the bank of Yamuna. He approached the bank of Yamuna. So he had just, he was all these days, 3 or 4 days perhaps, he was sitting in the muddy waters. Okay, so it was not the proper bank. So he still walked on further to Yamuna so that he could drink and graze freely. Okay, so Tatra Yamuna Tate. We'll read this first, then do the Padacheda, and then see the Artha. Tatra Marakata Sadrishani Balatrinagrani Balatrinagrani Bhakshayan Katipayaihi Ahobhihi Hara Vrishabha Iva Ityasti Visargalopaha Ajadhatra. So when you split the Sandhi, Hara Vrishabha Iva Pinaha Kakudman Balavancha Samvrittaha Pratyaham Valmika Shikharagrani Shringabhyam Vidarayan Garjamana Aste. So what happened to him later? So just with the help of the Yamuna Vata, he was nurtured, he became better. But so he could now get up and walk to the bank, and there was a lot of green grass for him to graze. So what did he do? Tatra Yamuna Tate Marakata Sadrishani Balatrina Agrani Bhakshayan. So he was able to have Marakata Sadrisha Balatrina. Balatrina is young. Okay, Bala means somebody who is young. Here it means fresh grass. Okay, Balatrina Agrani. So he could taste the Agrabhaga, the top portion of Marakata like green grass. They were so green, fresh and green. So the Marakata Sadrishatva just shows how fresh it was. So he was able to Bhakshayan, so grazing on the fresh green grass that was available there. Katipayaihi Ahobhihi, in a very, very short time, in a few days. Katipayaihi Ahobhihi. Ahan means a day. Okay. So Ahan Ahobhihi. In Tritiya Bahuvachana, it becomes Ahobhihi. In a matter of few days, what happened? Hara Vrishabha Iva. Harasya Vrishabha, Hara Vrishabha. Kaha Nandi Iva. So, like Nandi, the bull of the great Lord Shiva, Pinaha. Pinaha is nice, okay, stout. Okay, so he became stout. And Kakudman, okay, so he got a nice hump. Okay. Kakut Prashasta Kakudasya Vidyate Asau iti. Kakudasya Vidyate Asau iti Kakudman. So Kakudman is somebody who has a nice kakud. Kakud is the hump. Okay. So he developed a very fine hump. It's nice now. And Balavan, he became very strong as well. Balavancha samvrittaha. And what did he start doing? Pratyaham, pratidinam, every day. Valmika shikharagrani shrungabhyam vidarayan garjamana aste. So he's roaming freely. See, for all these years, he has been a beast of burden. He's been carrying a lot of load for his master. Probably he has never tasted freedom earlier. Now he is free for the first time in his life. So what is he doing? And he is very, fit now. So what is he doing? Valmika Shikharagrani. Valmika is an anthill. Okay. Valmika Shikharanam Agrabhagani. So the top portion of the anthills, what is he doing? Shrungabhyam Vidarayan. So he goes and, Vidarayan means he shatters those anthills, okay, with the help of his Shringa, with the help of his horns, and Garjamana, making sounds and just roaming around freely. Okay, this was his state. So what the Kavi says, is the author says. So he says, Sadhu Chedam Uchyate. It is indeed true. What is told is true. So now we have a verse. Arakshitam tishtati daiva rakshitam surakshitam daiva hatam vinashyati jivatyanathopi vane visarjitaha krita prayatnopi grihe vinashyati. Again. Arakshitam tishtati daiva rakshitam surakshitam daivahatam vinashyati jivatyanathopi vane visarjitaha krita prayatnopi grihe vinashyati. So the author makes an observation here. He says, see the status of this bull. It was abandoned by its master in a dangerous forest. Okay, and it is not a wild animal or anything. It is a homegrown cow. Okay, a homegrown bull. Okay, a very sattvika animal, we can say. It's not a very fierce animal that can fight, and it is not even a bull that was just roaming around in the streets or something. But it was a homegrown bull, well nurtured, and it has been a beast of burden for a very long time. So it has always been cared for and protected. So such a bull, when left alone, what are the chances of its survival? Very little, right? That is what we would think. That is the calculation of a manushya. So a manushya might think this way, but the Kavi says it is not like that. So seeing this bull, we can learn this. What can we learn? Arakshitam tishtati daiva rakshitam. Daiva rakshitam. Yat daivena rakshitam. That which is protected by daiva, destiny, nature, whatever we want to call it, that which is protected by destiny, daiva, arakshitam api tishtati, even when it is not protected by other human things that we can imagine as something that will give protection, even when unprotected by such things, daiva rakshitam chet tat tishtati. Daiva hatam surakshitam api vinashyati. Daivena hatam chet. So something is not protected by daiva. Okay. So daiva has given up on something, but all the efforts are put by human beings to protect something. It will go away. The power of a human in front of daiva is nothing. It is a speck. A human being is nothing but a speck in this large cosmos, right? So daiva hatam surakshitam api, even well protected things will only see destruction if abandoned by daiva, if killed by daiva. That means which is abandoned by daiva. Vane visarjitaha anathaha api jivati. Vane visarjitaha, somebody abandoned in the forest. Vane visarjitaha, visarjana means abandoned, okay, to leave once and for all. Anathaha api jivati. Anathaha, tasya rakshanartham kopi nasti. Nobody is there to protect it. Okay, such a creature survives. But krita prayatnaha grihe api vinashyati. But somebody who is well protected can perish at one's own home. Okay, so we all know that one can even perish at one's own home, even if well protected. Okay, so because the protection is something that is created by human beings, but ultimately, Daiva plays a larger role. It is not that the human will or human effort does not play a role. It plays a role, but it has its limitations. So one has to see that, one has to take into account the limitations of human effort, is what this shloka is teaching us. If you see the entire Panchatantra, that is how it is. It always takes into account nature, and whatever suggestion, whatever niti that comes out of this grantha is always going to be in accordance with nature. The solution that is provided is never against nature. That is why it is never against hierarchy. For example, the kings, okay, that are portrayed in the Panchatantra are mostly cruel. Okay, so what happens when there is a cruel king? All the other people, okay, so here when I say cruel king, it is always portrayed in the form of a lion who is very cruel. And there are other animals who are actually powerless in front of the lion, but still they all make some plot and finally they may end up killing the lion or something. So what happens when Panchatantra tells such stories? It does not give a permanent solution. It does not say things like, okay, it is not, see, in a particular context, a particular lion is evil. What the animals do is they plot against it and kill the lion. Okay. Panchatantra does not say that lion must not be the king of the forest anymore. You do something else. You bring something. Let us make jackal the king of the forest. Does not say like that. Okay. Because the lion being the king of the forest is what? It is something that is natural. That is how the world is. So the solution that is proposed by Panchatantra is always navigating through world in the best possible way, so that there is no damage to nature, so that there is no damage to the one who is navigating. The navigator does not have to face any loss, and the other side also does not have to face any loss. Basically, it is proposing a win-win solution. Okay, but never does it come up with revolutionary ideas like you finish off, there need not be a king in the forest. Such a solution does not come. All the animals are equal, so let us not have a king. Such a solution is not there. Why? Because it is something that is against nature. Even if we are going to destroy such hierarchies, human beings will naturally arrange themselves against, again in the form of a hierarchy will naturally come in nature. Okay, so there is no suggestion or such a niti is not proposed where you destroy hierarchy. Okay, so only context based solutions are given. Okay, so this one is again in accordance with the larger theme of Panchatantra, where it takes into account nature. Nature is not overlooked. That is why it says arakshitam tishtati daiva rakshitam. So daiva rakshitam chet tishtati. We have to take that into account. So despite a lot of effort, sometime we can fail and we'll have to accept it, and a visionary has to take that into account. That is why Daiva, the role of Daiva is never denied. It is never neglected. Surakshitam Daivahatam Vinashyati Jivatyanathopi Vane Visarchitaha Krita Prayatnaha. Even after all efforts, somebody could die at one's own home. So what happened? So this is happening to Sanjeevaka. Now the scene shifts. Okay, what happens? There is a line. Atha kadachit pingalako nama simhaha sarvamriga parivritaha pipasa kulaha udakapanartham yamuna tatam avatirnaha sanjeevakasya gambhirataram ravam duradeva ashrunot. Now, atha kadachit, once, what happens? Pingalakaha nama simhaha. A simha called Pingalaka, sarvamriga parivritaha, surrounded by all the mrigas, all the animals of the forest. Pipasa kulaha. So, Pipasaya akulaha, being very thirsty. Udakapanartham, for the sake of drinking water, Yamuna tatam avatirnaha. So he crossed over and came to Yamuna Tata. There, what did he hear? Sanjivakasya gambhirataram ravam durat ashrut. So Sanjivaka is somewhere grazing around and living a jolly life. So he is making all sorts of noises. Garjamanaha aste. We saw that, right? He's making, giving out huge sounds and enjoying himself. And this Pingalaka, he does not know who that is, right? Because he, from a very far off place, he hears the Gambhiratara Ravaha Shabdaha Ityarthaha, the sound, the majestic sound of Sanjivaka. So he's coming to drink water, and from a very Durat, and from far, what did he hear? He heard the sound of this bull, Sanjivaka. Immediately what happened? He was the king of the forest. He is the king, right? Pingalaka, Simhaha, Tathapi, Tachrutva, Ativa Vyakula Hridayaha, Sasadhvasam, Akaram Prachadya, Vatatale, Chaturmandala Avasthanena Avasthitaha, Chaturmandala Avasthanam Tvidam, Simhaha, Simhanuyayinaha, Kakaravaha, Kimvrittaha iti. Do the Padacheda now. Tat Shrutva, Ativa Vyakula Hridayaha, Sasadhvasam. Sasadhvasam Akaram Prachadya, Vatatale, Chaturmandala Avasthanena Avasthitaha, Chaturmandala Avasthanam tu idam, Simhaha, Simha Anuyayinaha, Kakaravaha, Kimvrittaha iti. The sound terrified him. Tachrutva. Sanjivakasya Shabdam Ravam Gambhiratara Ravam Shrutva Ativa Vyakula Hridayaha. He was very, very, very troubled. Vyakula Hridayaha. But what happened? He was the king, right? He could not show that outside. So what did he do? Sasadhvasam Akaram Prachadya. Prachadya, having hidden. He hided what? Akaram Prachadya. He hided his akara, his form. What kind of an akara? Sasadhvasam Akaram Achadya. Sadhvasa means bhaya. Okay. So basically he trembled with fear hearing that noise. Who might that be? What sound? It's a strange sound. I haven't heard it so far and kind of makes me tremble. Am I in trouble? So things like that, thoughts like that crossed his mind, and Sasadhvasam Akaram. So his face actually would show that sign, right? If his heart has fear, it would show on his face, but he hided it. So Sasadhvasam Akaram, Bhayasahitam Akaram Prachadya. Hiding it, what did he do? Vatatale, Vatavrikshasya Tale, Vatamule. So under a banyan tree, what did he do? Chaturmandala Avasthanena Avasthitaha. So he formed a Chaturmandala Avasthana. So the Chaturmandala, so 4 circles around him. Okay. So Mandala is a circle. So this kind of a formation was made, and he sat in the middle of that. Chaturmandala Avasthanena Avasthitaha. What are the Chaturmandalas? What are the 4 mandalas? Tuidam. So the first mandala has Simha, Simhaha. The second mandala has Simha Anuyayinaha. Anuyayi is a follower. Simha Anuyayinaha, the followers of the Simha, in the sense the animals that are very, very close to Simha, or the animals that occupy important position that are very close to the king, is what we have to understand. The Simha represents the king. Simha Anuyayis are those that are very close to the king, who can have direct communication with the king. The third one, the third circle has Kakaravaha. Kakaravaha, Madhyama Varga Bhrityaha, etc. So they are the Bhrityas, the servants, who are somewhere in the middle, not too close to the king, but they do not have first person access, but maybe they can have access to the king through the Anuyayis, through the ones that are there in the first level, second level servants of the king, or second level royal servants. Then Kimvrittaha, so who are the ones that are there in the outermost circle? Vartaharaha Charadayaha. So all these people, the spies and others who collect information for the sake of the king from outside. So they are in the outermost circle, Kimvrittaha, Charadaya. So this he has formed. The lion has formed this mandala, Chatur Mandala, and he is seated there. Now what happens? Atha tasya karataka damanaka namanau dvau shrigalau mantriputrau भ्रष्टाधिकारौ सदानुयायिना वास्तां तौच परस्परं मन्त्रयतः तत्र दमनकः अब्रवीत् भद्रकरटक अयं तावदस्मत् स्वामी पिङ्गलक उदकग्रहणार्थं यमुनाकच्छम् अवतीर्य स्थितः. We'll stop here and we'll do the padacheda. Atha tasya karataka damanaka namanau dvau shrigalau mantriputrau bhrashta adhikarau sadanuyayina vastam sada anuyayinau astam sada anuyayinau astam taucha parasparam mantrayataha tatra damanakaha abravit bhadra karataka ayam tavat asmat swami pingalakaha udaka grahanartham yamuna kacham avatirya sthitaha. So atha then tasya kasya simhasya pingalakasya simhasya karataka damanaka namanau dvau shrigalau mantriputrau bhrashtadhikarau sada anuyayinau astam. So tasya simhasya karataka damanaka namanau dvau shrigalau. So two jackals named Karataka and Damanaka sada anuyayinau astam. They were Anuyayi is a follower. So they were the followers of the king. Tasya Anuyayinau astam. Tasya Pingalakasya Sadanuyayinaha. So they were always following this Pingalaka wherever he went. Okay. So that means what? They were in the first mandala. Right? Because Simhanuyayinaha were the first mandala people. Even though they were in the first mandala, unfortunately, they did not have much power. Why? Because they were Mantri Putra. They are Mantri Putra. They are the sons of a minister, but Bhrashta Adhikaro. Now they do not have much power. Okay, so they are Bhrashtas. For some reason, they have fallen from their post. For we do not know, the author does not give the reason as to why they were punished. What was the reason is not known, but somehow they do not have that much power now, but still they are somehow in the first circle. Taucha parasparam mantrayataha. So they are talking among themselves now. Mantrayataha is dvivachana because there is tau. Tau mantrayataha. Saha mantrayati, tau mantrayataha, te mantrayanti. So those two are talking. Okay. Mantrana is to talk to each other. Tatra Damanakaha abravit. So among those two, Damanaka starts talking. So Damanaka says, Bhadra Karataka, dear Karataka, Ayam tavati asmat swami pingalakaha udaka grahanartham yamuna kacham avatirya sthitaha. So what did our Swami, Asmat Swami, our Lord Pingalaka, udaka grahanartham. So for the sake of drinking water, he was very, very thirsty. So for the sake of drinking water, Yamuna Kacham Avatirya. So crossing Yamuna Kacha. So he crossed there and he was about to drink water. Right, that is what happened. Then sa kinnimittam pipasa kulopi nivritya vyuharachanam vidhaya daurmanasyena bhibhutaha atra vatatale sthitaha. So Damanaka is wondering. So we'll do the padacheda now. Saha kim nimittam pipasa akulaha api nivritya vyuharachanam vidhaya daurmanasyena abhibhutaha atra vatatale sthitaha. So he crossed Yamuna Kacha, he crossed the muddy waters and he almost went to Yamuna to drink water. But then, kim nimittam, for what reason? Pipasa kulaha api, even though he was very much thirsty, Nivritya, having returned from Yamuna Tata, Vyuhara, because he has come back from Yamuna Tata, he has come back to a banyan tree. Okay, it's not near the Tata, so he has come back from the Tata without drinking water. He has come to under a banyan tree, and Nivritya, having returned, Vyuharachanam vidhaya, forming a vyuha, Daurmanasyena abhibhutaha. See, even though the Simha tries to conceal his bhaya, these people figure out that something is wrong with our king. So they know that he is Daurmanasyena abhibhutaha. So Dushtam manaha yasya saha durmanaha. So somebody's mind that is troubled, he is durmanaha. So tasya bhavaha, durmanasaha bhavaha daurmanasyam. So he is somebody with a troubled heart. Okay, and because of that he is abhibhutaha. He is overwhelmed by daurmanasya. See see what kind of a king he could be. We can guess that, right? So he says from his perspective, he has tried to hide something. But these people are able to figure out so much that he is not only something is wrong, but he seems to be overwhelmed by that in such a way that he is not able to, even though the king attempts to conceal it, he is not able to conceal it. Okay? Not a very great king, because these Bhrashtadhikara Mantri Putras are able to figure that out. So vidhaya daurmanasyena abhibhutaha atra vatatale sthitaha. Why is he here? Okay, that is Damanaka's question. Saha kim nimittam, for what reason? Pipasa kulaha, even though very, very thirsty, troubled by thirst. Pipasa kulaha api nivritya, having returned, vyuharachanam vidhaya, forming a vyuha, daurmanasyena abhibhutaha, overwhelmed by daurmanasya, atra vatatale sthitaha. He has stopped by under this banyan tree. I don't know why. So do you know this? Is what he is asking. Karataka. Karatakaha aha. So Karataka replies. He says, Bhadra, Himavayor anena vyaparena. Tanchayatha. Says, why should we bother ourselves with that? Kim avayoho. Avayoho anena vyaparena kim. Okay. Knowing this matter, okay, what is it there for us? What is it? What is there in it for us? We don't have to bother ourselves with somebody else's vyapara. This is the vyapara of the king. Better not interfere. Kimavayor anena vyaparena uttanchayataha. Why am I saying this? Because avyapareshu vyaparam yo narah kartumichhati sayeva nidhanam yati kilotpativa vanaraha. Avyapareshu vyaparam yo narah kartumichhati sayeva nidhanam yati kilotpativa vanaraha. So he says, why should I not meddle in somebody else's affair? Why? Because yaha naraha, that man, avyapareshu vyaparam kartum ichhati, the one who tries to meddle with avyapara, that which has not to be meddled, that which is not your own affair, it is somebody else's affair, it is something that is not of your concern at all. Somebody who wants to interfere in others' affair, what happens to him? Kilotpati vanaraha iva saha kilotpati vanaraha iva nidhanam eva yati. So he perishes, he dies. Like whom? Like kilotpati vanaraha, like the monkey that pulled out the wedge. Okay, so kila is a wedge. So the monkey which tried to pull out, utpatana is to pull out. So the monkey that tried to pull out the wedge, the way the monkey perished, died, evameva saha naraha yaha avyapareshu vyaparam kartum ichhati saha api nidhanameva yati nischaya rupena marishyati yatha. he will die. So better not interfere. Okay, that's what he says. Now he has to tell the story of Kilotpati Vanara Katha. So this is the first Katha, Panchatantra. Okay, first Katha in the sense, first sub Katha we can. See, this entire Mitrabhedha has the Pingalaka story as the frame story. So every other story that is going to come inside is mostly going to be narrated to us by either Damanaka or Karataka. Okay, these people are going to be narrating the story. It's somehow going to be related to Simha, the Pingalaka Simha and Karataka Damanaka. So that is the frame story, and inside that they're going to have other stories. So the first among that is Kilotpati Vanara Katha, because Karataka has just mentioned that he will die like the monkey that pulled out the wedge. So Damanaka obviously asks, oh, what is it? Now he is going to narrate the story of this monkey. Kasminschin nagare, nagarabhyashe, nagara abhyashe, kasminschin nagara abhyashe, kenapi vanik putrena, taru shanda madhye, devatayatanam kartum arabdham. Tatra cha ye karmakaraha sthapatyadayah te madhyanha velayam aharartham nagaramadhye gachanti. Atha kadachit tatra anushangikam vanarayutham itaschetascha paribhramadagatam. I'll do the sandhichedas now. Kasmimschit nagara abhyashe kena api vanik putrena taru shanda madhye devata ayatanam kartum arabdham. Tatra cha ye karmakaraha sthapatyadayah karmakaraha te madhyanhavelayam ahara artham nagara madhye gachanti. Atha kadachit tatra anushangikam vanarayutham anushangikam vanarayutham itascha paribhramat agatam. So kasmimschin nagara abhyashe. So near a particular city, some city, kasmimschit nagarasya abhyashe, abhyashaha ityasya samipam ityarthaha, nagarasya samipe, somewhere in the outskirts of a city maybe, kenapi vanik putrena, by some merchant, okay, taru shanda madhye, so taru samuha madhye, so there was probably a grove, okay, so in that grove, where there were a lot of trees, taru shanda, shanda refers to samuha, okay, shanda, hatendrari shandan jagatrana shaundan. So Hatendra Ari Shandan. So this comes in Subramanya Bhujanga. So the one who destroyed the group of Rakshasas. So Hatendra Ari Shanda. So Shanda is Samuha. Now, of course, Shanda also means Napumsaka, but in this context, it refers to Samuha. So there is a grove. Okay. So in the middle of the grove, Devatayatanam Kartum Arabdham. So somebody wanted to build a temple. Okay, Devata Ayatanam. Ayatanam is a place of residence. Okay, so Devata Ayatanam is Devalayam, temple. Kenapi Vanik Putrena Kartum Arabdham. Some businessmen started this project. Tatra tasmin sthane, tasmin taru shanda madhye, yatra yetat karma prachalati, tasmin sthane, ye karmakaraha sthapatyadayah. So the sthapatis and other craftsmen who were working in this project, te sarve madhyanha velaya, in the afternoon time, aharartham, bhojanartham, for lunch, nagara madhye gachanti. They go to the city. Okay, so this is somewhere in the outskirts, so they go to the city. So what happened? So on one such occasion, atha kadachit tatra anushangikam vanarayutham. So prasangena agatam vanarayutham. So a group of vanaras came there, and it was incidental. Okay, nothing planned or anything. Incidentally, a group of monkeys came there. Itascha paribhramat agatam. So they were roaming around. They came from nearby places. They were roaming and they came here. Itaschetascha paribhramadagatam. So roaming here and there, they finally reached this place incidentally. What happened there? Tatraikasya kasyachit shilpinaha ardhasphatita arjuna vrikshadarumayaha stambhaha khadirakilakena madhyanihitena tishtati. Etasminnantare te vanaraha tarushikara prasada shringadaru pariyanteshu yathechaya kriditum arabdhaha. He split the sandhis now. Tatraikasya, tatra ekasya, kasyachit shilpinaha ardhasphatita arjuna vrikshasya, ardhasphatita arjuna vriksha darumayaha stambhaha khadirakilakena madhyanihitena tishtati. Etasminnantare te vanaraha taru shikhara prasada shringa daru pariyanteshu yathechaya kriditum arabdha. So tatra tasmin sthale ekasya kasyachit shilpinaha. So some shilpi, what had he done? So he was trying to cut a piece of wood. Okay, he had just torn it apart into two, but it was not fully done. So ardhasphatita. So sphatita means torn or expanded. So it was just ardhasphatita. It was not fully separated yet. But so ardhasphatita arjuna vriksha darumaya stambhaha. So it was a stambha and it was ardhasphatita, half cut. Okay, and it was made of the wood of Arjuna vriksha. Arjuna vriksha darumaya stambha. Up till he was trying to just cut it out. Okay, and it was just half cut. And this was the work of some shilpi. Kasyachit shilpi naha was the work of some shilpi. It belonged to some shilpi, some craftsman. Khadira kilakena madhyanihitena tishtati. And it is standing there, it is kept there, supported. See, it is not fully torn, just half cut. So in order that it may stand like that, and maybe after returning from food, he can later cut it into two. Because if there is nothing to, separate, support the separation, it might close off again and one has to cut again. So what he does, he takes a wedge and khadira kilakena, a wedge made of khadira vriksha. Okay, so a wedge made of khadira kilaka. So kilaka is a wedge and khadira is the material. Okay, khadira kilakena madhyanihitena. So that is kept in the middle of this ardhasphatita darumaya stambha. So this half cut log is supported because of this khadira kilaka. What happens now? This is there. This is tishtati. Tat bhavati tatra. Tasmin sthane tadasti. Etadrishaha kaschana stambhaha vartate. Etasmin nantare. In between, what are these vanaras doing that have come? Vanaraha tarushikara prasada shringa darupariyanteshu yathechaya kriditum arabdha. They have started playing. Okay, in the tarushikara, they went on top of the trees, and then there are prasadas there. There are buildings there. Okay, so they have gone there and they have started playing. Yathechaya kriditum arabdha. So they started playing. Full of their heart's wish, they started playing. Here, Anushanga is there. Anushangikaha. Okay, sorry, this belonged to the previous slide. Yeah, Anushangaha is prasangaha. Right, we saw it there. Now, among the group of these monkeys, there was one monkey. Okay, the poor monkey. Its end was near. So, what does the author say? He says, "Ekascha tesham pratyasanna mrityuschaapalyat tasmin ardhasphatita stambhe upavishya Panibhyam kilakam sangrihya yavadutpatayitum arebhe tavat tasya stambha madhyagata vrushanasya swasthanachalita kilakena yadvrittam tat prageva niveditam." It's a beautiful sentence, long one. We'll try to break it. Ekaha cha yasham. Pratyasanna mrityuhu chapalyat tasmin ardha sphatita stambhe upavishya panibhyam kilakam sangrihya yavadutpatayitum arebhe tavat tasya stambha madhyagata vrishanasya swasthanat chalita kilakena yadvrittam tat prak eva niveditam. So tesham ekaha, vanaranam ekaha, one among the vanaras, pratyasanna mrityuhu, the one whose mrityu was very close, was pratyasanna, the one whose time of death was very close. Once again, we get to see reasons such as these, right? Because these are taken into account. So when we spoke about Sanjivaka, what did the author say? He said that he became better because of Ayushyashataya. Ayushyashataya saha apyayita shariraha. Atra ayam pratyasanna mrityuhu. So because we don't have any reason to explain such situations, right? So there were so many monkeys. Why should this monkey come here and try to pull out the wedge? Pratyasanna mrityuhu asit saha. So he was somebody whose death was very near. And because of that, Chapalya, because of that, Chapalata overtook him, he says. Because of that, he became Chapala. Because he's not Chapala all the time. Other monkeys do not have Chapalya. See, even though the very nature of a monkey is to be Chapala, the other monkeys at this point of time, they are not overcome by Chapalya, but somehow because he is Pratyasanna Mrityuhu, he is overcome by Chapalya now. Chapalyat. Tasmin, in that ardhasphatita stambhe upavishya, he went and sat on that half-cut log. Ardhasphatita stambhe upavishya, having seated there, panibhyam kilakam sangrihya. Okay, he touched and he was about to take the wedge. He touched the wedge with his hand and he was yavadutpatayitum arebhe. The moment he tried to pull it out, he pulled out the wedge. Yavat utpatayitum. Utpatana is to pull out. Yavat utpatayitum arebhe. The moment he started pulling out the wedge. Yavat tasmin samaye tada stambha madhya gata vrishanasya. So stambha madhya gata vrishanasya tasya vanarasya. Saha vanaraha idanim kidrishaha asit. Stambha madhya gata vrishanaha asit. Tasya vrishanam. Vrishanam it is a testicles ityarthaha. Okay. So his testicles were placed right in between the stambha. Okay. So what happened? Stambha madhya gata vrishanaha asit saha vanaraha. Tasya stambha madhya gata vrishanasya sthanat chalita kilakena. So how is this kilaka? How is this wedge? This wedge was supposed to be in its own place. Now that it has been moved from its place, swasthanat chalitam kilakam. So this has been moved from its place because of that kilaka. Swasthanat chalita kilakena yat vrittam, yat sanjatam, yat abhavat. That which happened to this monkey, which had got its testicles stuck between these two, this stambha, between this half-cut log, tat prageva niveditam. That I have told already. How? I have told, no, kilotpati va vanaraha saha nidhanam yati ityanena shlokena iva ayam kilotpati vanaraha mritaha iti maya purvameva uktam. I have already told that this monkey that pulled out the wedge unnecessarily was killed. I told already. Swasthanacharita kilakena yat vrittam, yat sanjatam, that which happened, tat prageva niveditam. I have told that to you already. I hope you have understood. Atoham bravini avyapareshu iti. Avayor bhakshita shesha aharaha aharostyeva tat kimanena vyaparena damanaka aha tat kim bhavan ahararthi kevalameva tanna yuktam uktancha. Now, this Karataka continues. He says, Ataha aham bravimi. That is why I am saying avyapareshu iti. Avyapareshu vyaparam yonarah kartumichhati. He has already told it, he is not repeating, but he is telling that too. That is why I said avyapara iti. That means what? Don't meddle with something which is not your business. Don't put your nose into something that is, don't meddle with somebody else's business. Avyapareshu yaha naraha vyaparam kartum ichhati saha kilotpativa naraha iva marishyati nidhanam yat. And he also says, moreover, avayoho bhakshita sheshaha aharaha astyeva. And moreover, what is it that you want? Why are you doing all this? Anyway, we get our food. We get what is due to us, right? Avayoho, for both of us. Bhakshita sheshaha aharaha. So the bhakshita shesha, see, jackals feed on bhakshita shesha, that which is bhakshita, that which has been fed upon by somebody, and then whatever remains, these are fed by these are eaten by the jackals. So that we are getting properly. We may be brashtadikaras, so we may not have much adhikara, that might be a matter of your concern, but after all, even the adhikara, what is it for? It is for survival. That is well taken care of. Why should you meddle when you already have a peaceful life? Avayoho bhakshita sheshaha aharaha labhyate astyeva tat kim anena vyaparena. Then why meddle in this? Then Damanaka says, Damanakaha aha tat kim bhavan ahararthi kevalameva tanna yuktam. What is this? You are just ahararthi. You seem to be living just for food. You are just ahararthi. All that you want from life is just ahara. Bhavan kevalam ahararthi eva. You are just wanting ahara. Tanna yuktam. That attitude itself is wrong, he says. One should not just aim for survival in this life. That itself is not welcome. That's not a nice thing at all. Why? Uktancha. Tanna yuktam uktancha. Why? Suhridam upakaranaad dvishatam apyapakaranad nrupasamshraya ishyate budhair jatharam kona vibharti kevalam. Suhridam upakaranaad dvishatam apyapakaranad nrupasamshraya ishyate budhair jatharam kona vibharti kevalam. Says Suhridam upakaranaad Dvishatam apakaranadapi budhaihi drupasamshrayaha ishyate. Kevalam jatharam kona vibharti. So he says, drupasamshrayaha. So, being of service to the king. Okay. Drupasamshrayaha. Working closely with the king. Okay. Or patronage of the kings. Budhaihi ishyate. It is always wished for by an intelligent person. A wise person loves to have the patronage of kings. Why? Because he can accomplish many things with that. Suhridam is upakarana. He can support his friends. Once he knows the king, he is close with his kings, he can help his friends. Suhridam upakarana. Dvishatam apakaranat. He can also take care of his foes. Okay, because the king will help him for that, or at least his position as a friend to the king will help him for that. So the wise, okay, buddhaha ityasya yasya, intelligence. Okay, the one who is very intelligent or the one who is very wise, he is a buddha. Budhaihi. Buddhimadbhihi janaihi nrupasamshrayaha tasmat karanad ishyate. So these people try to, they desire nrupasamshraya. They desire the patronage of kings. Kevalam jatharam kona vibharti. Who is it that does not support his own stomach? Okay. Everybody cares for survival. Everyone wants to support one's own, jatara purana, to fill your stomach. That is taken care of by everybody. Okay. So, is that a thing even? So it is something that is very, very basic. Okay, but one has to aspire further. Right? So you don't have to be such a adhama person. You can be a Buddha. So if you are indeed wise, you will not say such things. You will not say avyaapareshu vyapara, etc. Such a conservative idea nobody will bring forward. Okay, that you just take care of your own affairs and just stay low profile. Okay, this kind of a suggestion you will not bring because you do not understand the value of Nripasamshraya, what all can be achieved when somebody gets royal patronage. Okay, so you can help your friends, can deal with your enemies, all this can be done. That is why I am proposing this, he says. And it is 7:45 now. So I think I will take questions in tomorrow's class because I have to close the class at 7:45. So I will take the questions tomorrow. Okay, so please bear with me for today. There are a couple of questions I saw here. Just one question. Okay, I will take it tomorrow. I hope there are not many questions. Even if there are, I will take them tomorrow. Okay, tomorrow we'll stop the class 10 minutes. We'll stop it around 7:50. 7:50 to 8:05, 8:10, we can take questions. Stop now. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Namaskaraha.